Good evening and welcome to the news. The midweek edition, as usual, features an eclectic ensemble of news, reviews and interviews with particular focus on the Nigerian story, the hustle and the triumphs. We will also seek expert analysis in key sectors of the nation's economy. Tonight, aerial bombardment. Nigerian Air Force promises to take the fight to outlaws as the nation ramps up efforts to tackle insecurity. Federal government scales up surveillance infrastructure to ensure safer schools as Ministry of Education and NSCDC shake hands on new security platform. And from Kogi State, a correspondent x-rays the measures put in place to tackle insecurity.
Welcome to Lokoja, the Kogi State capital. My name is Solomon Ayedehi. Tonight on News Extra, from our section here, we are looking at the proactive measure of the Kogi State government in the fight against insecurity across the state. Stay tuned.
And on health, experts sound alarm on increasing cases of kidney failure as Ministry of Health meets traditional and religious leaders on National Health Summit. Also tonight, we shall be tracking the latest moves in the business sector and the sectors receiving increased foreign direct investment. That is with Benny Adams. And on sports, Badia Delaya is the man with the whistle as the English Premier League reaches its business end. He also has an eye of sports development on the continent. It's a loaded package, so we urge you to stay the course. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Ian Ray John. This is News Extra. Welcome. Let's set sail tonight as Anambra State Governor Professor Charles Soludo says his government is set to breathe life back to the social and economic sectors of the state after ending in his state the Monday sit-at-home practice hitherto foisted on people in southeastern states by non-state actors. The governor, who had a private audience with President Bola Tinubu, spoke to State House correspondents afterwards. Anambra State government recently took a step which put an end to the Monday sit-at-home. The governor explained that the practice has cost the state huge economic losses while it lasted. It disclosed that since the inception of his administration, 62 criminal camps have been dislodged, adding that considering the future of the state and the region, his government will not allow criminality to fester again in Anambra.
The important thing is that the 62 camps have been decimated, and they're not there anymore. And anywhere again they try to settle, we get on there and deal with them decisively. We can't allow criminality to dominate our place. And even more recently, I mean, these criminals have held the southeast region hostage, and for 5 years. For more than 5 years, every Monday there was a criminal, very debilitating, destructive Monday sit-at-home. The schools, aside from the capital cities, you know, the 5 southeast states, the capital cities, you know, no sit-at-home on Mondays. But then the rest of the places were mostly under lock and key, and this can't continue. And we decided that this year must be an end. Enough is enough. And I'm happy that so far we're taking back our region, we're taking back our state.
President Tinubu also received Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule on a private visit. Meanwhile, the federal government, in partnership with Ericsson, has launched the Connect Next Gen Innovation Hackathon in Nigeria. targeted at giving contemporary skills to Nigerian youths. The 4-month program, supervised by the Office of the Vice President, was launched at the Presidential Villa. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila feeds us.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Congratulations.
This program is a key operational phase of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Nigerian government and Ericsson, signed in 2024 in Sweden, aimed at digitally upskilling Nigerian youth in modern technologies expected to transform them on digital economy, technology integration, and education.
We have built an economy where skills can be outsourced without the outsourcing of dignity, where talent can travel without leaving home. The Connect Next Gen Innovation Hackathon is designed to deepen this reality, to make Nigeria a supplier of solutions to the world, and this is why today matters.
Sweden and Nigeria also share a conviction that young people must be at the center of the digital future. With around 70% of Nigeria's population under the age of 30, the choices made today will shape not only Nigeria's economy, but its society and global engagement for decades to come.
Our goal remains clear: empowering young Nigerians with world-class skills and global exposure.
Participants will also develop solutions in digital inclusion, smart cities, agri-tech, and sustainability, with outstanding teams gaining access to accelerators and further incubation opportunities to support Nigeria's ongoing digital transformation.
So we wouldn't allow this to just be a competition that would make our young people excited in competing, but we would also support with identifying some of the competition outcomes that can be commercialized.
And I want to encourage everyone to ensure that they encourage people to participate in this hackathon, and also I want to encourage key players to ensure that universities get onboarded into the Ericsson Educate program.
Connect Next Gen is not just a program, it is a statement of intent that Nigeria is investing in its people, partnering with global partners, and building the capabilities needed to thrive in the digital age.
This initiative focused on skills development, education program for policymakers and regulators, aimed at contributing to a stronger digital ecosystem by bringing together talent development and informed policy dialogue to support efforts in addressing connectivity gaps and enable inclusive and sustainable growth. From the State House, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Similarly, Nigeria is not just looking to fill a gap, but to rewire its entire technical DNA. This is backed by a recent move as the ministry moves away from typical infrastructural intervention to a more sophisticated style of funding towards high-tech laboratory ecosystem. This is expected to give more swag to Nigeria's technical education rebirth. Zenret Digmun reports.
Nigeria's skills journey has not been without hurdles, hence the need for aggressive oversight to achieve the desired results. The federal government believes this initiative provides the solution. A committee of professionals and experienced hands dedicated to ensuring that the precisely engineered intervention aimed at strengthening laboratory ecosystems succeeds.
And next time of reference, monitor the proper utilization of funds disbursed to the polytechnics in the implementation of this project. Maintenance of comprehensive electronic records of the project executed. Collection and submission of quarterly report to the Federal Ministry of Education and TED Fund on the status of implementation of intervention projects.
So in 2025, when we again proposed the second stage to be given to the same company, it coincided with Mr. President's decision on local content, and we got an instruction that this should be made available to Nigerian companies.
Today, Nigeria is working towards benchmarking with international standards. Nigeria is a signatory to the Washington Accord. We are also working, in the last 2-3 weeks, Korea has been actively involved with Sydney and Dublin Accords, which is specifically for MD and HND.
The minister also warns that mismanagement of funds will not be tolerated, stressing that the assignment must be carried out diligently in line with approved guidelines. Zenra Dingmun, NTA News.
Let's look at security matters now, as Nigeria's defense architecture is being recalibrated to deal with and suppress the peculiar dynamics of insecurity that are becoming an experience unique to our society. This was highlighted as the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Oluyede, met with the Senate Defense Committee to engage on the allocations to the security sector, which is almost 1/10 of the 2026 national budget. National Assembly correspondent Lamiali reports on this and other budget defense meetings at the Senate.
This session between the Senate Committee on Defense and managers of Nigeria's security architecture reflected on current issues relating to internal security. Both sides expressed determination to restore normalcy.
Our reality in the last 50 years has been that of battling terrorists and insurgents. Our armed forces, other security agencies must have their budgets implemented in order to secure the lives and property of Nigerians.
We've put in everything possible to ensure that we get things going. The challenges are still there, but they're getting better. We hope to do more with your support.
The session continued behind closed doors. The appearance of the Minister of Works, David Umahi, before the Joint Senate and House Committee on Works, broadcast on live TV, was sparks and fireworks. Tempers got high, leading to an inconclusive session. Elsewhere, the Senate Committee on Special Duties was upset that the Ministry of Budget removed the budget line item for the National Honors Award as approved by President Bola Tinubu from the proposal of the Ministry of Special Duties.
The Budget Office will now defy the orders of the President. So we are now giving the minister or whosoever that is concerned to insert this thing and bring it to this committee between now and Monday next week.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Bernard Doro, while being engaged by members of the committee, requested more allocation to tackle poverty in Nigeria. Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, on his part, said federal government is intensifying efforts to reposition the steel sector. It was at the budget defense session with the Senate Committee on Steel Development.
Continuing to strive hard to make sure that we fix the problem that has been ongoing for the last 50 years.
The request we have made to work together and provide idea how Abuja will be run.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Tertiary Education at the budget defense session with the National Board for Technical Education and rectors of federal polytechnics called for a deliberate shift to technical education to place Nigeria on the path to prosperity.
There are simple technologies that we can create, we can run in this country. We are importing virtually everything.
We will leverage with you, we will cooperate with you because we want to make Nigeria progress.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA.
Meanwhile, Nigeria's correctional system has awaiting trial inmates, making up 64% of the custodial population, highlighting the urgent need for reform and infrastructural expansion. This was revealed as the Nigeria Correctional Service defends its budget before the House Committee on Reformatory Institutions. National Assembly correspondent Mutari Ikpen reports on this and other sessions in the House of Representatives.
The Nigeria Correctional Service is seeking 198.85 billion naira for its 2026 operations to address congestion and poor infrastructure in its centers, emphasizing the importance of prioritizing rehabilitation of inmates over punitive measures. The Controller General of the service reveals that out of more than 80,000 inmates in correctional centers nationwide, almost 52,000 are awaiting trial.
You commit a crime that does not deserve serious imprisonization. You don't need to come into custody. Somebody steals a chicken, and you are sending him in custody to stay for 1 year. Now calculate 1,125 naira you used to feed him. How much is a chicken?
We went round. Each member of the committee contribute money in paying for release of inmates in various custodial centers, in Meduguri, in Bayelsa, in Port Harcourt.
At another session, lawmakers described the 15.8 billion naira budget allocated to the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation for 2026 as inadequate for the enormous task of auditing more than 1,000 ministries and agencies.
Lack of adequate office accommodation, lack of adequate office furniture, inadequate voting tools like computers and other relevant software.
Is the office that is ordinarily meant to ensure that those monies are well spent, and all they have to audit the sum is less than 6 billion naira.
Meeting with the House Committee on Commerce, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment appealed for a raise in the proposed 2.72 billion naira capital vote for the ministry in 2026 in order to sustain foreign direct investments, which he says rose to $21 billion in 2025.
Within available resources, the ministry maintains fiscal discipline, effective planning, and accountable use of public funds.
Small and medium enterprises are the heartbeat of our economy. This budget must prove it has the oxygen to keep that heart beating through accessible credit and reduce ease of doing business bottlenecks.
The committee assured the Ministry of Legislative Support with emphasis on measurable impact in considering the 2026 proposals. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Away from the budget defense sessions, now let's turn our attention toward the news as Nigeria has retained its low score on the 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index, CPI, standing at 26 out of 100 for the second consecutive year. This was stated during a media briefing organized by the Transparency International in conjunction with the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, in Abuja. Muhammad Rabiu Ali brings us details.
Nigeria's exit from the Financial Action Task Force grey list in October 2025 was a significant milestone. The role of civil society organizations and the media in exposing corruption and promoting accountability has also been acknowledged as essential pillars of Nigeria's democracy. The latest index shows that Nigeria has dropped in 2 places on the global ranking, moving from 148th position in 2024 to 142nd out of 180 countries in 2025, reflecting continued public perception of widespread corruption and limited progress in governance reforms.
Demonstrating significant progress, Nigerians' effort to recover and repatriate stolen assets, replicate growing international cooperation, and strengthen domestic enforcement. Over the course of 2025, domestic anti-corruption agencies made significant recoveries.
Reaffirming its commitment to national development, CISLAC says it remains open to working with government institutions and stakeholders to strengthen transparency, accountability, and democratic governance in Nigeria. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Elsewhere, selected infrastructure and social development initiatives currently underway in northern Nigeria under the administration of President Bola Tinubu were the focus of discussions at a gathering of journalists, Kannywood actors, and social media influencers in Kano. The engagement highlighted ongoing road and healthcare projects aimed at improving mobility, stimulating economic activities, and expanding access to essential services across several states. Awal Salisu has the details.
The media engagement focused on key road and healthcare projects designed to improve mobility, boost economic activities, and expand access to essential services in several states. Participants received briefings on major road infrastructure works along strategic corridors, including Babura in Jigawa State and Dawano in Kano State, which are expected to ease traffic flow, strengthen commercial activities, and support agricultural distribution. Additional road projects around Funtua in Katsina State and along Kano-Hadeja route were also highlighted, noting improvements in travel time and commuter safety. In the health sector, discussions featured developments at the Misau Federal Medical Center following the conversion of the General Hospital in Misau, aimed at improving medical capacity and expanding access to tertiary healthcare services for surrounding communities.
A strategic road project under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, such as the Ajaokuta, Okene, and Akonga corridors, continue to strengthen interstate connectivity and support economic and social activities across regions.
I am testifying, and I'm also a testimony that this thing is real. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking Nigeria to a greater height.
Speakers at the gathering noted that the projects presented represent selected examples of ongoing interventions nationwide, emphasizing the administration's commitment to infrastructure development, improved service delivery, and national integration. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
Now, President Bola Tinubu has nominated Ambassador Ismail Abba Yusuf as the new chairman and CEO of the National Hajj Commission, NACON. A statement by the special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, indicates that the appointment is subject to the Senate's approval in accordance with the provisions of Section 3, Subsection 2 of the NACON Act 2006. President Tinubu requested the expeditious confirmation of Ambassador Yusuf to replace Professor Abdullahi Usman, who resigned this week after about 14 months in the office. Ambassador Yusuf is a Nigerian career diplomat who served as the Nigerian ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to the Republic of Turkey from 2021 to 2024. Now, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, has commenced an investigation into the air accident involving Arik Air's Boeing 737 aircraft, which diverted to Benin Airport due to an engine anomaly while flying from Lagos to Port Harcourt Wednesday morning, February 11, 2026. NSIB says during the cruise phase of flight, the crew detected abnormal indications on one of the engines. The crew shut down the affected engine and landed safely. No injuries were recorded. While an investigation is ongoing, NSIB says a preliminary report will be issued within 30 days in accordance with International Civil Aviation Authority ICAO provisions. This is News Extra. There's more news after this short break. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. In recent time, Kogi State has brought some measures to tackle insecurity. Solomon Naide is standing by to give us an update on the state's security situation. Solomon.
Kogi State in recent time has been at the receiving end of the ongoing onslaught on criminal elements at the northeast and northwest of the country, as they have chosen to flee into the state and Kwara State to cause mayhem. As they are settling down in Kogi State government has made its stand clear. 1, not to negotiate with any criminal. 2, to take the fight to them in Kogi forests. And that's exactly what we are seeing today, as the Kogi State government, working in collaboration with the National Security Advisor and heads of security agencies in the state, are working assiduously to dislodge the criminals in those bushes. The operations are ongoing, and to analyze the current operations and onslaught against these criminals, I have with me the Kogi State Commissioner of Police, CP Naziru Bello Kankarofi. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
How will you describe the ongoing onslaught against criminal elements in parts of Kogi State?
Yeah, I think it is a success story. The insurgents, for the first time ever, we have taken the fight to their den. We have been able to root them out. We have taken over their camps, and they are fleeing. They are on the run as I'm talking to you.
Yes, recently the state government announced the closure of public and private schools, and also motor parks and and markets. Why, and what is the government hoping to achieve with this measure?
Yeah, the government acted based on credible intelligence. The government, you know more than anybody, does not want any harm to come the way of our children and the citizens. That's why the schools were closed as a temporary measure to protect them and to protect the entire state. Secondly, you know, the bandits and the terrorists are on the run, having been dislodged from their hideouts in the forest and mountainous regions of the state, and therefore it is expected that they may want to flee to the neighboring states. In order to avert that, that's why the markets were closed, because that's where they get most of their supports, logistic requirements in terms of food, fuel, and what have you. And you know, when large number of people gather, they are likely to sneak in and disappear more easily. The motor parks have been closed because the bandits may likely use the motor parks to escape to other neighboring states, and then making a whole success rubbish, because if they migrate to another state and cause the same problem, it's just taking the hands of the clock back.
So talking about confirming or implementing government's directives, how prepared is the police to ensure that the people actually follow the order?
Yeah, so far, in the last 48 hours, I want to assure you, the order has been strictly enforced. The people are cooperating very well because they understood that the measures the state government is taking is in their best interest to secure them, to protect their lives and property. And you know, the police and other security agencies are widely spread in the state. Our area commanders and divisional police officers and even officers in charge of outposts are enforcing that order, and so far so good. I want to tell you, we have even made arrests. As at today in Kaba, we made an arrest of about 40 people, and they have to undergo screening to make sure that there are no fleeing bandits. And as a result of the operation, I told you that we are able to rescue about 16 people who have been in captivity in the bandits' camp. And therefore, even the state government has opened a refugee camp and internally displaced people, because in the course of the operation, we decided that all isolated camps must be moved to the IDP camps, so that only bandit camp will now be left in the forest, and that will help us to deal with the situation more effectively.
So what's your message for the people of Kogi State?
Well, my message is a message of glad tidings. I believe the worst is over. Of course, you know, a dying horse will always want to kick. They have been doing some subterranean high robbery and kidnapping activities in isolated areas from the day before yesterday and yesterday, trying to show that they are still around, but we are trailing them, and therefore people need not to panic. What we want the people to do is to continue to be vigilant, report all suspicious persons and movements to the law enforcement agencies so that appropriate measures can be taken. But I want to thank Kogi State people and the government of Kogi State, the Inspector General of Police, the Office of National Security Advisor, and all sister services that have put heads together to make Kogi State a very, very hotbed for criminals and other undesirable elements.
Thank you very much. That is CP Naziru Bello Kankarofi talking about the security situation in Kogi State and elaborating on the enforcement of the order of the state government, particularly the closure of the market and motor parks. Local government chairmen have been mobilized to ensure that they work along with stakeholders in their various local government areas, particularly in six local governments out of 7 of Kogi West Senatorial District. Also, the State Ministry of Information is mobilizing seriously to carry everybody along to ensure that people in the communities are aware of government intention and they work along with the government to ensure that the markets remain closed and the parks are not accessed for now. Also, the Office of the State Security Advisor is coordinating heads of security agencies in the state to ensure enforcement of government order. So, Kogi State government is on top of the situation, and the assurance we are getting from the government, as exemplified by the CP, it is obvious that in no distant time, the issue of banditry and other criminal acts attacks in the state will be a thing of the past.
All right, many thanks, Solomon, for the update. Good to know that Kogi is safe. Still on security matters, the Nigerian Air Force is collectively reflecting on the alignment of leadership perspectives and strategic recalibration of unmanned aerial vehicle development roadmap with a view to refining air power in Nigeria's counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency campaigns. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, disclosed this at a meeting with branch chiefs, air officers commanding and unit commanders at the headquarters Nigerian Air Force in Abuja. Defense correspondent Olajide Bello reports.
They toil day and night with several hours of intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance missions, sorties, close air support, bearing in mind rules of engagement to ensure precision airstrikes and mission effectiveness while discharging their constitutional duties. But after all this, it's back to the drawing board to take stock and project enhanced operational effectiveness. This convergence of branch chiefs, air officers commanding and unit commanders of the Nigerian Air Force signals collective readiness to begin a new chapter for the Nigerian Air Force with emphasis on unity, focus and a renewed vigor.
The Nigerian Air Force remains loyal to the Constitution and the democratic elected government of the day. Accordingly, commanders are reminded of their responsibility to maintain unity, cohesion within the ranks while checking all forms of indiscipline and unlawful activity.
The Air Chief spoke on the successes recorded in the Niger Delta in the last 3 months.
Insecurity in the Niger Delta has declined, as joint operations have significantly reduced pipeline breaches and helped to raise crude oil output to about 2.2 million barrels per day, a marked improvement on earlier levels.
The Nigerian Air Force says it will continue to be willing, able and ready to combating threats to the nation's national security with a high sense of professionalism and precision. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And still talking security, troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast, Operation Hadinkai, have swiftly repelled an ISWAP attack, launching a devastating follow-on counter-offensive. This decisive action has significantly degraded terrorist capabilities, disrupted their logistics and reaffirmed Operation Hadinkai's unwavering commitment to dismantling terrorist networks across the Northeast region. A statement by the Media Information Officer of the Joint Operation, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, indicates that the troops engaged the retreating terrorists up to the Gideon Kaji axis, eliminating 16 terrorists, forcing scores to flee in disarray with severe injuries. Equally, troops recovered over 20 bicycles, a large cache of logistic items, weapons and other supplies critical to terrorist operations. In further blow to terrorist logistics nodes, troops arrested suspected ISWAP logistics suppliers conveying large quantity of drugs meant for terrorists around Buratai axis. Troops foiled a terrorist kidnap attempt along the Buratai-Kamuya road after detecting terrorist activities. In pursuing, compelling the terrorists to abandon their victims and withdraw into the bushes, while 2 victims were rescued and safely reunited with their families in Buratai. In response to a distress call along Chibok-Damboa axis on the 9th of February 2026, troops rescued 9 kidnapped victims successfully. Now, in an era where classrooms have become slightly unsafe, the federal government is moving beyond traditional security strategies to digital fortifications. Going forward, every school in Nigeria is to be integrated into a singular high-tech platform monitored by the National Safe Schools Response Coordination Center. Zenret Dingmun reports.
The response to school insurgency has long been mostly reactive. often racing to secure already breached environments. Now, this engagement is to use the existing database to create a digital shield by leveraging real-time data and geospatial monitoring, turning isolated rural schools into connected nodes that can trigger immediate tactical response at the first sign of trouble.
We provided and established a female squad and what we call the Safe School Protection Squad, which I tell you is on record. We have a presence in all the 37 states. We are also present in all the 773 local government, including the districts.
Activities are quiet. It's not that they're working. We saw the center. They have about 8,000 already on the platform. But what we've done, we will migrate it onto the platform here. We've also talked about easy access. We're changing the number of their toll-free number to a 3-digit number, which they're going to do quickly.
This engagement also highlights state-level participation in terms of providing relevant data as the key to the initiative's success. In Abuja, Zenred Dingmoon, NTA News.
And still on education, Jigawa State government is transforming basic education through stronger collaboration with development partners as it hosts a high-level roundtable discussion on education reforms in Dutse. Muhammad Musa Askira reports that the meeting highlights progress, challenges and further development projection in basic education subsector.
Nauma Namadi has led development partners in a roundtable discussion on basic education in Jigawa State, held through the State Universal Basic Education Board at the Council Chambers Government House. The meeting brought together key development partners including Agile, Save the Children, Jigawa Unite, Hazara Charity Foundation, Baba Azumi Foundation and other partner organizations to review progress, achievements and challenges in the implementation of education program across the state. Presentation at the forum highlighted interventions in digital learning, teacher capacity development, school enrollment drive, support for out-of-school children, provision of learning materials, and improvements of school infrastructure, all aimed at strengthening the basic education subsector.
The investment we are doing in education is really producing results. What we heard from the donor agencies, the contribution they are giving towards the development of education in the state, and also the outcomes of what they are doing and what we are doing is becoming very, very clear and very evident.
How can we be out of learning crisis? How can we be able to address learning poverty, which has been an issue disturbing us, allowing us not to sleep? At the same time, we want to make sure that we partner with them. Partner so that we can be able to gain from them, from their vast experience they have in terms of what is obtained internationally.
The governor also appreciated the network of civil society organizations in the state for recognizing him as a responsive and people-centered leader committed to the service and development of the people of Jigawa State. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
In other news, today the world celebrates curiosity, courage and discovery. It's the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, a day honoring those who dare to ask questions, challenge limits and innovate, even in spaces where they were once told they didn't belong. Yet, for many girls, barriers still block the path to their scientific dreams. As the world looks to science for solutions and sustainable development, empowering women and girls is no longer optional. It's essential. Sandra Akeme brings us this special report.
Technology and innovation shape the world we live in. Yet, women and girls remain underrepresented in the very fields driving global progress. In laboratories, classrooms, and research centers, women continue to break barriers, proving that intelligence has no gender and innovation knows no limit, just like these younger ones imagining themselves there too.
We being in this trade is actually proving people of the world wrong, that we as women actually have the strength to do what men can do also.
I want to encourage my female students to keep on studying hard, to never give up, to never relent in their studies, because there will be a time in your life that you will look back and be like, yes, I'm the one that did this, yes, I'm the one that made it in life.
For Juliet, who is an engineer, Behind every woman in science is a story of persistence, of chosen passion over stereotype and possibility over limitation.
From my own experience, from exposition and my exposure, I see that science rules the world. Even art is under science. So I would encourage women and girls to engage in science, because from there they can diversify to different kinds of career opportunities that present themselves in the future.
Experts say empowering girls in science starts with early encouragement, access to quality education, mentorship, and visible role models.
So we make sure we encourage them from the point of admission, we counsel them, we guide them. And I want to tell you that the girls are truly making us proud.
So they learn how to connect resistors in series, connect resistors in parallel. And the applications of this in real life is where they have to reduce the flow of current in the circuit using resistors.
On this International Day of Women and Girls in Science, the message is that supporting women and girls in science is not just about equality. It is about building a smarter, stronger, and more inclusive future. In Abuja, Sandra Akeme, NTA News.
Many thanks, Sandra. Brilliant, I must say. Now, the North-East Development Commission, NEDC, has handed over some of its completed projects to Adamawa State Government for the benefit of the state. The inauguration and handing over of the projects were meant to restore hope and livelihood of the people. Correspondent Ryan Ubala has the details.
This Development Commission, NEDC, is said to be impacting positively on the well-being of the people in Adamawa State through various projects and support to the vulnerable, among other interventions. The transfer of some of the key projects to Adamawa State Government, especially on health, education and provision of potable water, is meant to restore livelihood to the people of the state. The completed projects include multi-ward facility at the Yola Specialist Hospital, 1.1 kilometer access road at the FCE Yola, solar-powered industrial borehole at the School of Nursing Yola, Model Skills Acquisition Institute, among other projects in Guyuk and Madagali local government areas. The Minister for State Regional Development, Obamaigari Amadou, accompanied by the Chairman and Managing Director of NEDC, said government is committed to implement people-oriented projects for the benefit of the state and the region as a whole.
Essentially, the task of the Commission is to solve problems. This government, under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, pays attention to provision of livelihood items, life-saving items.
I'm very, very proud and very, very happy that it's coming up very well. This place is very famous.
So today now, already what I've been integrated with School of Nursing, and I'm judging some other point around. So this facility has already been unofficially commissioned.
In Iola, Ryan Ubala, NTA News.
Let's head to Lagos now, where the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, plans to recover about 1.5 trillion naira of depositors' funds from about 50 defunct deposit money banks and 100 primary mortgage and microfinance banks. In actualizing this task, the NDIC organized a sensitization seminar in Lagos to arm debt recovery agents with requisite knowledge on operationalizing provisions of the 2023 NDIC Act for effective debt recovery. Amaka Owo has all the details.
The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation NDIC Act 2023 remains the legal framework that empowers the corporation with a mandate to ensure timely recovery and payment of depositors' funds. It addresses existing loopholes that hinder guaranteed depositors' insured sum in cases involving failed banks.
We're here to let the debt recovery agents know what are, the tools they now have, in addition to what they have been doing before. What we're doing will actually help us recover more debts and quickly so that we can reimburse our depositors.
The NDIC Act 2023 is a full bouquet of tools to help with debt recovery. And we intend to use every section, including parties at fault, which is very important, not only to recover, but at the same time to serve as a deterrence for people and to make sure the banking industry is sanitized, and those who are involved in the failure of the bank are brought to book to ensure effective debt recovery and bringing parties at fault to justice.
Resource persons focused on various sections of the amended Act, providing in-depth explanations on important areas that stored implementation of refund and payment of depositors' funds in the past.
NDIC has the requisite powers and the ability, as provided in the Act, to be able to go after these assets, recover them, and of course enlarge the pool from which depositors can recover and creditors of the defunct banks can also recover.
I found it really enlightening. I learned a lot.
Other critical areas including enhanced powers of the Corporation for effective debt recovery, identification of criminal infractions in debt recovery matters, as well as assets tracing and recovery challenges in bank liquidation were also addressed. In Lagos, Samaka O, NTA News.
Similarly, in line with its statutory mandate, the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, reaffirms its continued commitment to protecting depositors' funds and ensuring stability in the nation's financial system. This was contained in the Managing Director's message to the 47th Kaduna International Trade Fair. Mohammed Umar Ajingi was there.
A consistent participant at the Kaduna International Trade Fair, the NDIC used this year's special day to deepen public awareness on financial security. Through cultural displays and brief policy statements, the corporation emphasized stronger interagency collaboration to protect depositors' money more effectively.
Currently, NDIC insures depositors of deposit money banks, DMBs, mobile money operators, MMOs, and non-interest banks up to 5 million naira, while depositors of payment service banks, microfinance banks, and primary mortgage banks are covered up to 2 million naira. This expanded coverage protects about 99% of depositors, underscoring our commitment to safeguarding the savings of Nigerians.
To support initiatives that strengthen trust, transparency, and stability in the economy, and to working with institutions such as NDIC to ensure that the benefit of regulation are understood and accessible to all.
The NDIC assured Nigerians that their savings in licensed banks are secured, urging the customers to ensure their bank verification numbers, BVN, are properly linked to their accounts to guarantee deposit insurance coverage in the event of any eventuality.
So, my brother, your money is assured. As long as you're here today, see, NDIC, they will help you recover your money.
Make you go keep this money for bank. Make you go keep this money for bank. If you not keep this money...
In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Murajingi, NTA News.
Let's look away from the safety of funds now. One of Nigeria's telecommunication giants, MTN, is building a solid platform for the emergence of future Olympic champions among Nigerian youths through its grassroots sports development initiative and the National Secondary School Championships. As the competition enters its 4th season, MTN promises a bigger and more inclusive platform for young sporting talents across the country. Ime Udori was at the launch in Lagos, and her report is presented from our studios.
The championship, an initiative of MTN Nigeria in partnership with Making of Champions MOC, is designed to discover, develop and nurture track and field athletes with raw talents from secondary schools nationwide, with the aim of producing future global medalists in Olympics and other international sports championships for Nigeria.
With MTN
Since inception in 2023, according to organizers, the competition has unearthed exceptional talents across 7 cities nationwide. The new season is scheduled to hold in 3 cities, Calabar, Jos and Ibadan, for the next class of emerging talents, where top athletes will compete for honors.
Season 4 takes the vision even further, expanding participation,
strengthening competition and deepening our impact across schools and communities nationwide.
We understand the power not just of their numbers, but of their skills, their drive, their energy. I don't think there's anything like it. So we're committed to youth, and really MTN Champs is the flagship.
MTN management and partners also announced the extension of the Making of Champions Academy for another 3-year period.
This 3-year deal with MTN up until the 2028 Olympics is monumental, and I think athletes across the country will be celebrating right now, knowing that MTN Champs will be there.
Zanda winning Lawrence, I can say categorically that we have some of these athletes, the products of MTN Champ, that participated in the first African School Games in Algeria.
While outstanding performances of 10 athletes who won international and national medals were celebrated, 10 others received golden tickets into the academy in Lagos to begin training as the next generation of emerging champions.
I see myself winning an Olympic gold medals, competing, representing my country, making my family proud and making myself proud.
The championship, according to MTN, is part of its commitment to youth development, national sports growth, and discovery of talents that will represent Nigeria on the global stage.
Elsewhere, the Development Bank of Nigeria, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Livestock Development, are engaging small and medium entrepreneurs as well as financial institutions in the Northeast on how to improve livestock production. The training organized in Yola is to bridge the financial gap and promote value chain in livestock production. Correspondent Bilkusu Abubakar reports.
Training focusing on strengthening the capacity of small and medium-scale enterprises and participating financial institutions to livestock production and accessing loan exposed the participants to the nitty-gritty of fattening, breeding, storage, and feed cultivation as they were taken around to the Bareji farms in Yola. According to the Development Bank of Nigeria, Ministry of Livestock Development and the Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project, LPRESS, the intervention programs will promote Nigerian economic growth, job creation, and financial independence for the practitioners.
So this strategy today of engagement and coming together is inclusive and is also promote a lot of understanding of the dynamics of the sector.
We're also de-risking these transactions with them. We have our wholly owned subsidiary called the Impact Credit Guarantee Limited, where we issue guarantees to support lending to these value chain practitioners.
For now, you know, the livestock sector has not been enjoying a lot of businesses development like that. So we give them training, and then the DBN also complements it by giving them additional training, bringing the bankers to them, and they all be able to interact effectively.
The initiatives encourage participants to enhance value chain in the animal production.
If you have this loan, it will help you to expand. Probably you are maybe keeping just some few birds, but by the time you get the loan, it will help you to expand your business.
The training encourages expansion of business through loans from Development Bank of Nigeria, supporting the federal government livestock development initiatives in value chain. In Yola, Bilkisu Abubakar, NTN News.
In the same vein, cattle rustling has emerged as a silent but devastating threat, undermining national food security, disrupting rural livelihoods and deepening insecurity across the country. Driven by greed and criminal intent, the illegal looting of livestock has not only robbed farmers of their source of income, but has also fueled wider social vices, from violent conflicts to the breakdown of trust within communities. But as criminals evolve, so too are the tools to stop them. In this report, Yusuf Jika examines how animal identification, electronic tagging and traceability systems are being deployed as a modern solution, tracking livestock from farm to market and closing the loopholes that have long enabled animal theft to thrive.
Cattle rustling has become a major security challenge in Nigeria, especially in the northern region. For pastoralists, the impact is severe: reduced herd sizes, leaving fewer animals for sale, shrinking incomes, and worsening poverty across rural communities. In Zamfara State alone, between 2011 and 2018, nearly 500 villages were reportedly devastated, more than 13,000 hectares of land destroyed, and 2,835 people killed in cattle rustling-related violence. Experts say tackling the menace requires more than force. The defunct National Livestock Transformation Plan had already adopted a national animal identification and traceability system to identify livestock nationwide.
This, we believe, has a number of roles to play. Number one is the issue of proof of ownership. The world over, animals are not just left like that. Animals are identified, they are part of the national data, and they are also an evidence of proof of ownership.
Identifying them with tags that provide easy identification when the need arises.
Veterinary expert Dr. Elsie Udwak, in her book Animal Identification System and National Security, advocates the use of sophisticated microchip technology embedded in animals.
Since the problem of Nigeria are multifaceted, we need different solutions to solve different problems. So animal identification system can be used to combat cattle rustling.
Microchip-based identification, stolen animals can be traced and recovered while perpetrators are brought to justice in Abuja. Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Let's pause now. There's more news when we return. Please do stay with us. Glad to have you back. Let's now have business news. Benny Adams is here.
Thank you, Yeri. And talking business, amid the implementation of the new tax laws to increase government spending power, members of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, FCT and Northern District have called on government to stop looking for quick fixes and access funds from the capital market for long-term loans to bridge the nation's massive infrastructure gap, citing the success of Sukuk bonds as living proof. They say from bridges to highways, the evidence of market-funded infrastructure is visible across the country.
It is one of the most sustainable and assuring way of raising funds, either for government or for individuals, because in the capital market, you raise a long-term funds.
People are expecting, we are also expecting that landmark listing of Dangote refinery is almost here with us, and we know that it's the largest. The refinery is the largest in Africa, so to say. And if that's the case, everybody wants to have a bite of that cake.
Going forward, everything is moving on a stock market. The capital market is booming because the people there knows what they're doing.
Economic cycle is cyclical, so also the market. And the market has the laxity to go down 10% in a day or go up 10%. So if you are not watching all the stocks, the slight movement might make you to lose millions. And when you are trading for a client, in fact, the client is even more important than your own investment.
Well, still talking capital market, it's all green across major markets in Africa, with Nigeria leading the pack. At the end of today's trading session, investors in Nestle shares witnessed a 10% share price appreciation, closing at 2,420 naira per share, followed by investors in Maya, Consolidated Hallmark Holdings, and Fortis Global Insurance. On the downside, you have Honeywell Flour Mill came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 9.7% at 22 naira 80 kobo per share, followed by Nimet International Pharma and Initiate Art and Real Briscoe, while Tantalizers recorded the highest volume of 85.3 million traded shares. That is it, and a business for midweek.
Well, thanks, Benny, for the update. Now, when you hear the word nephrology, what comes to mind? I bet some have no idea what it's all about, but if you have had issues with your kidneys, you must likely know the word. Yes, nephrology is a branch of medicine that deals with problems of the kidney. Statistics say about 11% of Nigerians are living with kidney-related diseases, and health experts are saying urgent action Stronger partnerships and sustained public awareness are needed to reduce the growing burden. Let's hear Tina Toro on this.
The conference focused on challenges such as inadequate infrastructure, limited funding, workforce shortages, and unequal access to quality kidney care across the country. President of the association, Professor Jacob Olubenga Obusui, said that despite these constraints, Nigerian nephrologists remain innovative, resilient, and committed to delivering life-saving care to patients.
Chronic kidney disease is common. It's a disease that affects 10% of the adult population. Is by no means rare.
You are aware the government of Borno State has already conducted a research, and we are awaiting for the research findings to come to fruition, which will guide us in terms of how we're going to deal with the rising numbers of kidney disease in the state.
The sun that we have here and the lack of intake of water by individuals, some herbs that people are taking, and some drugs over the counter people are taking, coupled with the prevalence of hypertension and diabetes.
The event also featured the presentation of fellowship awards to members recognized for their outstanding contributions to advancing kidney health in Nigeria. As the conference draws to a close, stakeholders advocate stronger collaborations, increased funding, and sustained public enlightenment to reduce the burden of kidney disease in Nigeria. In Maiduguri, Tina Toro, NTA News.
Still talking health, the National Traditional and Religious Leaders Summit on Health 2026 is to be held on Monday, 16th February 2026. At a ministerial press briefing in Abuja, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, said the summit is aimed at engaging traditional and religious leaders across the country to strengthen community participation, trust and accountability in Nigeria's healthcare system. The minister notes that the leaders play vital roles in areas such as immunization, maternal and child health, HIV, tuberculosis, malaria control and community mobilization. The summit will therefore provide a platform for leaders to share grassroots perspectives that can help government refine policies and address gaps in service delivery. Professor Pate explains that the summit aligns with the comprehensive reforms being implemented under the Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative and the Health Compact signed by all stakeholders. The minister announces future launch of the second cohort of the National Health Fellows Program, highlighting the Nigeria-United States Memorandum of Understanding on HIV, TB and malaria, which commits nearly $2 billion over 5 years while supporting Nigeria's transition towards greater domestic financing and long-term sustainability of its health sector.
Parts of the program and continue to count on you to be pointing out for us where we can be blindsided, because the advantage that you have is where these guys and myself were in a fog, the fog of execution, where you need someone who is able to look at it and say, adjust, or you're doing the right thing.
Let's take another break. Please remain tuned. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has received a boost to its core strategic objective of digital transformation and modernization of its Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME. This was as the registrar, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, received an ultra-modern 275-capacity CBT center donated by legal icon Ahmed Raji, SAN, in Oyo State. Kemi Oshin was there.
Commending the initiative in the quiet town of Iseyin, the JAMB registrar, Ishaq Oloyede, noted that it alluded to the transformative potential of public-private partnership. He added that the infrastructure is a critical intervention in the education sector at a time when JAMB is intensifying efforts to expand access to tertiary education for Nigerian youths at the grassroots and to minimize human interference with examination procedures.
So make sure that people of Okeogun
car do not need to travel to Ibadan to access the facilities that they are restricted in CBT center. This is not just a CBT center, but a comprehensive CBT center.
The donor, Ahmed Raji SAN, appreciated JAMB for providing operational mandates for the actualization of the newly inaugurated center, which has reduced the travel burden and logistics hardship experienced by young people in Iseyin and adjoining communities while traveling to examination centers in major cities.
What happened to the late students, most unfortunate, it touched my heart, and we felt that we should have something here. They can do about 1,000 in a day because they do it in shift. And our hope and prayer is that it will assist them and they will do well and they will contribute to humanity.
From Iseyin, Kemi Oshin, NTA News.
Recently in the seat of the Caliphate, history was made as the media industry witnessed moments of reflection and pride as the Sokoto State Media Corporation marked its 77 years of broadcasting service, reaffirming its role as a trusted voice of information, education and public enlightenment across the state and beyond. From its early days to its present influence, the corporation has remained committed to responsible journalism and public service. Sadia Umar Dege reports.
The Sokoto State Media Corporation is reflecting on endurance, adaptation and service. These reflections set the tone for activities marking the corporation's 47th anniversary. Established in 1978 as the Sokoto State Broadcasting Corporation, the organization has navigated decades of reforms and restructuring, evolving into today's Sokoto State Media Corporation, a trusted voice to millions of listeners and viewers. After 47 years of informing, educating, and entertaining the public, the corporation took the celebration outside the studio, paying a compassionate visit to the Sokoto Orphanage Home, reinforcing the human side of broadcasting. The anniversary brought together 3 timelines representing the histories of Rima Radio, Rima Television, and Rima FM.
It's a historic day for the people of Sokoto State, particularly the family of Sokoto Media Institution. We are very happy and we want to thank everybody.
I want to commend the government for being able to carry on like this and be able to put people who have the quality to run the place.
The Sokoto State, we have taken bold steps in improving the capacity of government information apparatus. Among the steps taken by the state government include modernization of broadcast infrastructure, including installation of new FM transmitters.
Awards were presented to dignitaries, outstanding staff, retirees, partner organizations, and colleagues.
So I feel happy and I appreciate the organizers of the event. I'm very happy.
One unique occasion that has really identified so many people who worked to propagate government policies and programs.
4-day celebration ended with cultural performances.
Now, Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, felicitates with the former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Princess Sarah Shoson, OFR, on the joyous occasion of her 70th birthday celebration. In a birthday message where she joins family, friends and associates of the celebrant to mark her platinum birthday celebration, the First Lady notes that as a former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Princess Shoson contributed to the growth and development of the state, especially in the education sector. She prays God to grant the celebrant divine health, peace, renewed strength and joy in the years ahead as she joins the League of Septuagenarians. It's now time to talk sports. Badi Adeleye has all the details. Badi.
Many thanks, Yere. Let's begin from the National Assembly. As the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko has commended President Bola Tinubu for prioritizing sports development through the Renewed Hope initiative for the Nigerian sports economy. Diko made the remarks while defending the Commission's 203 billion naira budget estimates for 2026, describing the initiative as a major step towards repositioning sports as a viable economic sector. It says placing sports funding on first-line charge will ensure stability in athletes' development.
The initiative that will induce more than 140,000 jobs. And in the last quarter of 2025, the calculation of the GDP for the first time shows that sports did.
Moving on, the Director General of the National Institute for Sport, Philip Shaibu, says Nigeria must urgently standardize coach training across all sports to address declining technical standards. Shaibu says some national team players lack basic football control, and of course, he says that is unacceptable for Nigeria's sporting pedigree. While defending the Institute's 2.7 billion naira budget for 2026, Chairman of the House Committee on Sports, Kabiru Amadu, says the allocation is inadequate to drive professional coaching, sports management and research. The committee, however, approved an increase of the Institute's 2026 budget proposal to 60 billion naira.
NI's responsibility is leading room. They have bestowed the responsibility of training manpower for the sport ecosystem. So now we want to standardize coaching in Nigeria.
Our committee envisaged that the problems of the gaming sport infrastructure across the country, especially the national stadium, protest of non-payment of bonus.
And that's our bit on sports tonight. Let's now return to the area.
Many thanks, Badi. And on the death of Meiru Adamu, a well-known name to many avid listeners of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Kaduna, and the Kaduna State Media Corporation, 90.72 FM. The iconic voice of Meiru Adamu thrilled them for many years as her velvety voice regularly hit the airwaves as a presenter. The death of the undisputed goddess of the airwaves after a period of health challenge left many of her lovers in shock and disbelief. Janaiza prayers have been held in her honor. Also, the death has been announced of Madam Anastasia Uluma Ohegbuchi, who was aged 84. Late Anastasia Ohegbuchi was a compassionate woman, a devout Christian, and mother who devoted her time in the service to God and humanity. She will be buried on the 13th of February 2026 in her hometown, Umboku Ihite, Ezenihite, Mbese, in Imo State, after a funeral mass at St. John the Apostle Catholic Church. She's survived by many children, grandchildren, in-laws and relations, amongst whom is Tony Madu, former manager news of NTA. And that concludes News Extra tonight. Many thanks for investing your time with us. I'm Ian Rejan. Have a good night.